Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the February 18 Hawaii State meeting. We are excited to have you here. You can pass on the slides. I'm Karina Ramirez, CCL's VP of People and Culture, and also a member of the Honolulu chapter. So our agenda today is going to include, of course, the welcome, connection before content. We are going to share PCL values, mission, and policy agenda, as well as some monthly national call highlights. We will also be sharing some updates and actions that you should be a part of. As usual, we're going to go over some of the 2026 events, discuss some Hawaii legislative priorities, and of course, we are going to take an action together. To start, and if you can undo the sharing for a second, our connection before content is for those or anyone who watched the Super Bowl and sort of wanted, I am still in a high of the Super Bowl, but the question of the evening is, what was your favorite Super Bowl moment, if you had one? So I'll put it out there on the floor. Anyone is welcome to unmute and share, please.
Well, I can share. I had excellent Super Bowls, one after the other, year after year, when we lived in Honolulu. And the very favorite thing about the Super Bowl was we could go for a Hawaii Bicycling League bike ride and have essentially empty, no traffic streets. So we loved the Super Bowl.
Love it, love it. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I didn't go, but I enjoyed seeing the pictures of Bad Bunny on the sparking electricity pole. I thought that made a good point about electricity in Puerto Rico.
I love the inclusive, display of the flags representing the different countries that make up the Americas. It's not just the United States; it's actually all those countries and then some that make up this part of the hemisphere. So I thought that was very informative, perhaps for some, and a good reminder that that we are many.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Well, you're thinking, I can tell you, being of the Latino community, not only was it, it was great to see something on screen that I think was trying to tell a story, but also actually see what's been taking place after that performance. There has been conversations online of people that are curious about Puerto Rican history, people that have been celebrating the fact that they were the grass people in that performance, and they're now, because their NDA is finally over, they can reveal themselves because they couldn't tell family members or friends that they were part of that. And it's been wonderful to see the discussion and just to see people just gather and just be curious about things that they didn't know before. And I appreciated that. So it's been nice to see that. I actually watched that recording before this meeting because I had long meetings today, but it's just a nice reminder, and I smile every time I see the flags because it's a good celebration. So that's what I have to share about that. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for indulging me in that little connection moment. So let's go again and continue with our meeting.
Yeah, let me share here.
Okay, so Ruth.
Yes, hi, I'm Ruth and I'm in Hilo. So these are our core values, the Citizens Climate Lobby, and the very last one is personal power. And this is a thing that we're using the most, I think, right now, because we're engaging with the legislature in the state as well as nationally. And so that's our personal power. We use our voices to be heard in our democracy. This simple act transforms us from spectators to engaged citizens. We are volunteer-driven, trusting volunteers to make important decisions, and each of us is essential to solving climate change. Slide. Thank you. Citizens Climate Lobby empowers everyday people to bridge divides and build political will for effective climate solutions in Congress.
This slide right here gives us our 3 policy commitments. And as the slide says, number 1, reduce emissions, remove carbon pollution, and protect people. And Citizens Climate Lobby is committed to advancing federal policies that do those 3 things. And they will guide our work in 2026 as we urge Congress to adopt bipartisan, durable, and fair policies that help achieve these outcomes. They do encompass our 2025 policy commitments, but they restate them in a briefer and clearer way. And I will put in the chat a link or 2 about those policy commitments. And I might mention that tomorrow evening, Thursday, at 4 p.m. Hawaii time, Flannery Winchester, CCL Vice President of Marketing and Communications, is doing a training session on the new mission statement and the revised policies. So I'll put that link in the chat as well. Thank you. So, going through the 3 individual policies, what we have here is reduce emissions, and the way Congress can do that is through laws that make it easier to build and connect clean energy. And the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, has a comment on that, which reads, deep, rapid, and sustained mitigation would lead to a discernible slowdown in global warming within and around 2 decades and deliver many co-benefits, especially for air quality and health. So that's what we have on that issue. And then we get to, let's see, what do we call that? Remove climate pollution. And the deal there is carbon dioxide removal, either through natural sources or through technology that's advancing and working up to scale, is an important tool. They both need to be employed in tandem. And that's a statement from also the IPCC. We need to stop polluting and we need to remove legacy pollution. And then, going on, we have protect people. The policy needs to boost our resilience to climate impacts and ensure that every household feels the benefit of climate change and clean energy. And that really, in a way, comes under the heading of adaptation, often more than mitigation. And the IPCC says the earlier the adaptation measures are implemented, the more the world will benefit. So let's do it. Let's do it now. IPCC likes it.
Hey, Ron, if I may, as I was listening to what you just shared, it just reminded me of this metaphor of the bathtub that is overflowing. And the first policy area is essentially to turn off the spigot. The second one is to pull the plug. So we remove the water from the tub. And the third one is because the tub is overflowed, we need to clean up. We need to adapt. So I just wanted to highlight that as you were describing that metaphor came to mind.
That's a great metaphor. I think officially known as stocks and flows in the computer world. So yeah, Thanks, Noel, for that comment. And what we have here is updates and actions, and this is just a wonderful fact of life. As some of you have been with CCL for some time, know we learned about the Prove It Act. CCL gave us training sessions to help us understand the Act. They gave us one-page handouts to either email or hand off to congressional offices. And the blimmin' thing passed. Well, it's in quotes there. It passed not as a standalone bill, which is what we lobbied for, but it got folded in to a bigger omnibus bill, I think they're sometimes called, and Congress passes the Energy and Water Appropriations Bill in January of 2026. Guess what? It includes language very similar to the Prove It Act and directs the Department of Energy to calculate the carbon intensity between American and foreign product. So we know what we're talking about when we say this steel is dirty from a country that doesn't have any environmental laws. And this country is clean because it's almost as good as we are, and so on and so forth. So I'll put some links in the chat about that, and then we can move on to this slide, which basically says how many lobbyists, how many volunteer lobbyists does it take to match the paid professional lobbyists? Well, the answer is here. 848 lobby meetings we had on Capitol Hill, 14,000 messages to the House and Senate, 2,000 calls to Senate committee members, plus lots of local media and community conversations. So all of you who remember the Prove It Act, give yourself a huge pat on the back. Your work helped make this a success.
Ron, before we move on, I just wanted to welcome Lila. I invited Lila to this meeting. She's a friend of mine and a colleague. She's based in Oahu, and she's a leader in so many different ways. So, Lila, welcome. And I'm not sure if you want to just say something briefly about yourself and introduce yourself to the team.
You know, I'm one of your greatest supporters and advocates, and I'm learning so much. I was in the State House for 3 terms until I asked too many questions and then became a persona non grata. I'm an educator by profession at the university and the public schools, and so as I'm listening, and I'm deeply appreciative of Noel. We worked together at Sustainability Partners last year. My passion really is engaging youth in not just critical thinking, but in action. And so I'm listening to see how I might be able to further what it is that, you know, the passion of this group, and help kids also become part of the community of support.
Wow.
Thanks, Lila. And Paul is with us as well. He doesn't have his camera on, but you've met and engaged on Climate Future Forum. So it's a small world.
No, we're all interconnected. It's Hawaii.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Lila.
Hi, Paul. I'd like to see you too. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to see myself, actually, but yeah.
Let's talk soon. Thank you, Noel.
Yeah, thanks for that introduction. And I invited Mac Cooper, and he's in the Strait of Georgia right now on a ferry going from the mainland out to Vancouver Island. And they have good reception out there. So Mac, thanks for being here. He's from Hilo, he and his wife. And also Richard Brungard, another sailing friend from, he splits between Hilo and the LOI Boat Harbor. So thank you both, Mac and Richard, for being here. Okay, let's move on, if we can.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. It's been nice to see the new people that are joining us today. Okay, so let me go through some CCL activities and things that you need to know. The registration for the virtual conservative conference is now open. That will take place April 18th. This conference is particularly for right of center individuals. They will have a lobby day April 21st. So if you have friends, family members who are curious about CCL and the conservative work, I definitely suggest for you to invite them. There is an opportunity for people that are not right of center and would just want to be able to learn and sort of listen in. There will be live streaming provided. And that would be, that would be something for people who just want to learn about the conservative work. You are invited to join them if you can. Okay. This month on media, CCL is asking us to engage in permitting reform. So there is a link to take an action to get your member of Congress to support permitting reform. And as a volunteer, in case you haven't heard yet, this year CCL launched something called Bridge, and Bridge stands for Building Relationships in Dialogue, Growth, and Engagement. The first lesson is available. Actually, the first 3 are available. And the reason why we want to make sure that you start the lessons is because there's going to be a total of 9 of them. And the purpose of this training is to encourage all of us to have much needed conversations with different people, but also to sort of help us understand how people sort of retain information or learn information, and how people are seeing things from different perspectives. It's a fascinating training. It's based on social science, so it will give us an opportunity, especially this year. This is a very important year. There's going to be midterm elections happening later on in the fall. So it will be a good opportunity for us to start taking that course. And the first lesson is entitled Understanding How We All Make Meaning. So definitely do that. As far as the action that you can take as well, there is we're asking you to write your members of Congress because we want support for the highway authorization bill. And we are basically just asking the members of Congress to keep a new EV and hybrid fee fair compared to the current gas tax, for them to keep that into consideration. So you can take this action, and let's take a moment if you haven't yet taken this action. And is there the link to take this action? There's normally is a link. Let me see. Well, do you have that handy?
Yeah, I do. I have it right here. Thank you.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
it's in the chat right now. The last entry there. Are you able to see that? It
Yes.
says, yeah.
Get loud, take action, EVP. Yes, thank you. If you're already taking this action, thank you so much. I believe Paul
Yeah.
already written, Benjamin and Bobby and Ruth and Noel and Douglas, Keith and Ron. It's been nice to see that. So there's been already 27 emails sent from our communities here. But please, if you want to support this, please do so.
Yeah. When you click on that link, it will lead you to the right page. And if you've already taken action, and some 9 people have, maybe you want to do a different action, which I'll also put in the chat, and that relates to permitting reform. And while people are doing that, I'm just going to fill some of the space here and say that per CCL's action tracker, which logs the action that CCL members do through the CCL webpage, we can know that in Hawaii, we had 9 people that have already emailed 3 members of Congress, depending on which district you are, the 2 senators plus your representative. And congratulations to these volunteer lobbyists: Paul, Karina, Benjamin, Bobby, Ruth, Noel, Douglas, Keith, and Ron. That's 9 people, 3 emails each, 27 emails we've added to our Hawaii portal. So congratulations, everybody. Another huge pat on the back for not being a passive observer, being an active participant, as Karina so rightly says. So we've got.
If I may, Ron, I just want to add too for our new people. When you click on that link, and you don't have to do it now. You can play with it after the meeting. It essentially allows you to quickly send an email to our members of Congress. It will identify the member of Congress and also provide a draft content that you can either just send as is or modifies what we would recommend. It takes about a couple of minutes to do. So do it at your convenience, but I just want to highlight that it is a very simple process, and you'll be able to send a message to our members of Congress fairly efficiently.
Yeah, thanks, Noel. And let me also add that to send an email to your member of Congress in DC. You are not allowed. They won't accept anonymous emails. So you're going to have to fill in your name and your email and some details of your address so that they know who it is and where that person is that is sending them a polite, respectful message to help them make good decisions and help make them look good to their constituents by making wise decisions as a legislator. So, and welcome, Keith.
Forgive my tardiness.
Forgiven. Always good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the 3-minute time. So, as Noel correctly says, you can do this more and customize the message on your own time after the meeting. Thanks, Karina.
Ron, you have the slide as well.
Oh, I do? Which slide are we on?
Upcoming events.
Okay, upcoming events is, let me look at that just quickly here. Thank you. Okay, every Wednesday for new members, CCL has a live informational session which describes briefly how you could become more effective and get used to CCL and what it does and how it does it. So every Wednesday, that's live, and there are recordings of that session. So again, it's a nice way to get an overview of the organization. Oceans Day is at the Capitol. Paul, any comments about Oceans Day at the Hawaii State Capitol?
I welcome anybody who wants to join me at a table there on the 10th from anywhere between 10 and 2. So, Karina, if you're bored, with CCL stuff and you want to come down, feel free to join me. And Lila, if you want to get a taste of CCL and, what we say, you're also welcome to join. I know you have a little bit of a phobia around that place, but if you're willing to come back there, love to see you and hang out with both of you.
Paul, it's more PTSD, I think.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm not afraid at all, but okay, thank you. We'll be in touch.
So, thank you, Paul. The next item there is Conservative Conference and Lobby Day. And I should explain that for people that are less familiar with CCL. CCL is a nonpartisan organization. We believe that durable legislation requires bipartisan buy-in. And so CCL actively is encouraging right of center, as they might be called, conservative members of the public, influencers, to attend a virtual, by Zoom, Conservative Conference and Lobby Day. There are 2 days. April 18th is the conference where you'll learn what the major priorities CCL has. On April 18th, who knows what they will be. And on April 21st, there will be virtual lobby meetings with, I think, somewhere between 35 and 40 Republican members of Congress. And those members will be chosen based on constituents who are right of center, who've signed up to join the conference. So if you know of any right of center valuable people who are concerned about climate and would like to be involved, I think Paul is going to put his email in the chat, and you can contact us and we will help whoever you recommend through that process. I think there's a small $25 fee, which is way more expensive than an airplane to DC, and accommodations there, which is normally what us volunteers take on, that time and expense. So that's that. And then Earth Month is coming up. Cabling event in Hilo on April 22nd. Keith and I will be there with a table if you'd like to join us. Again, please let Paul know, and he'll pass it on and we'll share. And then on Maui, there's going to be at the Montessori School a Maui Earth Day on April 18th. And then looking forward, our main in-person event, 2 main person events each year, is a summer conference and lobby day. It's going to be July 26th through the 28th, and that's in person and involves probably the Omni Hotel and meeting hundreds of other wonderful CCLers from around the United States and around the world. And I can tell you it's a wonderful experience. I've only been once. That was pre-COVID in 2019. And Noel was there, and can't remember all else right now on the top of my head, but yeah, we were crossing a busy highway at a pedestrian walkway, and who should come bustling around in the opposite direction but Mark Reynolds? And I go, "Hey, Noel, where's Mark Reynolds? That's the famous Mark Reynolds, our executive director." And we stopped and shook hands and talked story in the middle of this street before the lights turned. So anyway, summer conference, July. And then there's a virtual inclusion conference. Karina, a few words about that.
Yes, this will be our 5th conference. Could you believe that? So the Inclusion Conference is actually created by the volunteers who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And they are part of the People of the Global Majority National Action Team. But they're the ones that pick the theme each year. They pick the speakers. There's music. We normally try to bring a bit of culture into the conversation and get people to learn about the concerns of those communities and climate. I'm being biased because I'm closely connected with the community, but I think it's just a great gift for them that they give us each year. So yes, it will be September 18th. which is normally the Friday is sort of like a connection evening. And then on the 19th, we normally have about 5 to 6 speakers for the day of the conference. So thanks. Virginia.
Well, I wanted to talk about the local media. So that is letters and op-eds that are published in one of the Hawaii papers. So we are up to 5 that are published this year. And if you want to go to the next slide, you can see those that have happened in the last month. So John Kawamoto had a community voice, like an op-ed, published in the Civil Beat. It was really good. It really described balcony solar, so it gave everyone who read it a good introduction to balcony solar, which is making its way through the legislature, which is great news. And then today, in the Star Advertiser, we had 2 things published. And the top right is Eric Lindborg, who lives on Kona on Hawaii Island. And he's a retired doctor, so he wrote about climate and health. And it was so quickly and well received that down here I put this letter that he got from the executive director of the Hawaii Medical Association, congratulating him, and that they had already posted it in their news information source. So that was pretty exciting for him. And then I don't know if you can see it, but Bobby had a letter published that talked about how passing carbon cashback could help to mitigate a bit what just happened at the EPA with the ruling that came out about greenhouse gases. So that was exciting to see her letter published. So we're doing great this year in the media, and we have several that are in the works that are going to be published, going to be considered.
And I will always state this after you share your update, and that is a thank you for the work you're doing to help our little group here and more be aware of all these news items that we can respond to. So Virginia, thanks for leading our media team.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's such a wonderful group to work with.
Thanks so much, Virginia. All right, Paul, talk a bit about legislative sessions.
Okay, so we have the blessing from CCL National to do, or they're supporting some of our state level actions. So that's kind of a bit of the overlap between CCL and our local group, Carbon Cashback. And so 3 of the policy areas that have been submitting testimony on behalf of CCL as well as Carbon Cashback is Carbon Cashback. So that's just briefly for those who may be unfamiliar, that would raise the existing barrel tax and give all the money back to people in equal shares, thus making the bill progressive, unlike a classic gasoline tax where the money just goes into the general fund. Policy is revenue neutral and relatively simple to implement, taking advantage of existing structures. The Healthy Soils program gets to one of CCL's goals in terms of sequestering carbon emissions. So it's a plan to just that, have healthier soils for both agriculture, and healthier soils for agricultural generally means better in terms of carbon sequestration or releasing fewer carbon emissions. And then the last one goes to the op-ed, one of the op-eds that Virginia was talking about, namely plug-in or balcony solar. So these are small-scale plug-in solar systems that allow many more people to take advantage of the solar revolution, if you will. So these small units can be put on a balcony, a lanai, put them outside on your patio or what have you. And generally the cost can range from $500 to $2,000 depending on the wattage of your system. And the payback is generally less than 4 years. So attempt to, but this gets back to kind of affordability or equity that is also a part of I feel CCL's goals when it comes to its policies. So if you want to participate in Carbon Cashback, I will put my email in the chat, or if you want to learn more about what we're doing locally in the state legislature, please feel free to reach out to me, and happy to get you involved with on our mailing list and action alerts around legislation. Mahalo.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
very good, Paul. Thank you. And what we have here, now here is something that we have. Let me just see if I have that already. Yes, I do. Okay, so for those who have not officially joined Citizens Climate Lobby, I might encourage you to do that at some point. It's free to join in terms of there's no upfront membership fee. It's not free in the terms of there are requirements. I mean, you need to be open to learning a bunch of stuff about policies and carbon fee and dividend and healthy soils, et cetera, and how to be fair to EV drivers. And so Citizens Climate Lobby will help you understand climate-related policy issues as they come along. And so encourage membership. And for those who are members, there is a little link in the chat. And if you click on that little link, it will recognize your device and say, oh gosh, Karina was here at that meeting. Noel was here at this meeting. And that helps CCL because when they go to fundraise or so on and so forth, as nonprofits usually do, they can say to donors, look, we have a big long arm here and lots of people are paying attention. So you can help support us with donations. Most of their support comes from individual donors, such as the people on the call here. I don't have the exact percentage of that, but it's a major majority. So there we have it. And are there any questions or comments that people have that they'd like answers to? And if we don't know them, that's okay. We'll make something up.
Yeah, Ron, I do have a question maybe for Paul with regard to the bills that we're tracking. Are there any? Is there any insight into insight that could influence what we do? I'm interested about opposition, for example, what their concerns are, and if we can mitigate those concerns with the testimony that we're submitting, because I imagine that some of the concerns are unfounded and could be addressed with education. Is there anything like that for the 3 areas that we're advocating for?
Great question. So I'll take the easy, healthy soils. I don't really know that much about, just trying to support DLNR there in their work. So have to go through. I don't know about opposition. In terms of balcony solar, there's not much opposition except for, well, let me just potential opposition that could come up would be more from the utilities, their concern about the program. I think the emphasis with testimony is that these are small systems and they pose no risk to line workers if there's a power outage. And the main point of the bill is to exempt these small systems from any interconnection fees and any net metering requirements. So to emphasize that and to kind of steer away from other issues. There are legitimate concerns, safety concerns around balcony solar, which have to do really within the home. And so I think the idea there is to emphasize that that you need the UL certification. So what is that? United Laboratories. I've got the right name.
Underwriting Laboratories.
Underwriter. Thank you. Yeah, I guess underwriting, since they're the ones who then legally are on the hook. So, anyways, thanks, Keith. So that with carbon cashback, guess I kind of defer to you and others. I'm sure you guys can come up with all the opposition we've heard on those bills or on that particular policy. I guess again in testimony, I would argue that in general, it is a financial winner for low and moderate income households. So often that's a point of resistance. We have resistance when it comes to certain environmental groups saying that it doesn't do anything. That's factually incorrect based on other studies. So I think this goes to, we have a FAQ page to deal with a lot of the misunderstandings, misconceptions, false information. So I don't know, Noel, if you want to say more on that, since you've done a lot with that.
I guess the one that comes to mind is on Hawaii Island, Richards and perhaps Todd, right, might be influenced by folks that are concerned that because we are a very rural area of long driving distances, that the drivers here would be, households would be disadvantaged. And we did, I shared that information with the team, right, in terms of how to interpret the benefits, given that it's at the household level versus at the individual driver level. So I think there's something there that may need to be surfaced, like we may need to put some talking points against it if indeed they're factual, and then utilize that as a way to address the concerns that some of these folks might have. And then lastly, I think, we're probably going to sound like a broken record here. There isn't one magic solution, right? This carbon cashback doesn't solve everything. It's intended to be a part of the suite of solutions that will address the needs and undesired consequences. So I think that putting that together as we're submitting testimony and making it very clear that some of the concerns are mitigated by the fact that, one, it's not intended to solve everything, and then two, there are other bills that are also making the rounds in this session that we should support because they collectively would move the needle in terms of making the transition to clean energy and reducing emissions.
So if I may, I could like to return to the balcony solar. Again, if you have, a balcony solar device that's, making electricity, it's been very windy here, and the utility's been sending me all kinds of text messages that they're going to turn my power off. They haven't, but in those, conditions, information is very important, and if you have medical equipment, having, power is very, can be between life and death. And again, it's not just wind, it's also wildfire. Where I live here in the Big Island, we are in a wildfire area. If there is a fire, they're going to shut the power off. So not everybody has, tens of thousands of dollars to put, roof and battery on their house. Balcony solar is a winner for the populace.
Or and also you can buy an electric car that allows the ability to
Yes,
power your house. Dual purpose.
that too.
On balcony solar, one of the things that I anticipate will be a challenge, but I think it's the phase 2, right? Let's get this bill passed, and then we need to address the next iteration, which might be around the pushback that condo associations may have around the installation of things on the lanai or things that hang over the railing, that sort of thing. So there could be policies, local, HOA policies that are safety related and maybe even aesthetic, related to aesthetics that could prevent the adoption in high rises, right? So again, not for this session unless somebody actually raises it as a concern, but I think we need to anticipate that as a potential next step.
Thank you for mentioning that. I think usually one of the challenges is, people kind of forget that you have to do the follow through, right? And not just getting the bill to pass, but also like what happens in the implementation stage.
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding us of that, Noel. That's very important. Okay. Anything else everybody wants to add? I have a question for the people that have joined us today that are new. I basically first wanted to welcome you to CCL, so thank you so much for being with us. But I guess I just wanted to know from you if there are any questions that we can answer for you today, or anything in particular that you wanted to take away from this meeting that we haven't answered so far. I figured it's a introduction to CCL 101 kind of thing. But if you have any questions, we're open. So we hope that you have been able to, take away something from this meeting. But we wanted to know if there was anything particular that you wanted to learn from visiting us today. Lila, you're like, yeah, go ahead, Lila.
So much to learn, and I will continue to talk with Noel and Paul. And I guess what I want to know is how do you stay so positive? I've been in the rabbit hole for some time, and I'm generally the consummate optimist. I love this idea of being together in common purpose, and holding the light for everybody. Because everyone has their own perspective on how they can contribute, and some ideas on the overall content, I guess. So I'm very appreciative to be in such a circle of people who still believe it's possible.
Yes. Oh wow, that's a great and a wonderful first question. Optimism is one of our values, so it's ingrained in what CCL does and promotes as an organization. I think that when you start seeing, especially the BRIC program, you'll be able to get more into the why we're thinking what we're thinking, right? Mm-hmm. We have seen, for example, what Ron was sharing about the Prove It Act, right? These are things that take time, but every little thing that we do is to move us to the direction where we want to go, right? So in the CCL kind of, end goal is to reduce emissions, so anything that we can will help us along the way. And Noel was telling us, if possible, and it's just going to be a continuing conversation, especially now, right? When sometimes some people feel that we're divided and that we don't have things in common. I think, I personally, now that I've been around the organization since I'm going on my 9th year now. And 6 years, seven or 8 on staff. So somewhere along the way. But sometimes it can be discouraging, right? What we hear outside. But I personally believe that the people are here because we all believe that we want to reach something that could be meaningful. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for looking at us, and I'm just so happy to see new faces today. So thank you. We're here to support you in any way that you want to reach out to us. We're here for you.
Karina, I'd like to just add to that. So to answer the question, how I think as a team, right? And there's a much larger team there. Oh, Dave just joined us. There's a hello, Dave. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Dave. Good to see you.
It's so I'm just answering a question that Lila shared, and that is, how do we keep positive, right? How do we remain optimism? How do we have this optimism that we're exuding here? And one of the things for me personally is the ability to make stuff happen. It could be that we're getting bills passed, getting bills heard locally. It could be the Prove It Act is a good example at the federal level. It's getting op-eds posted, right? I mean, these little things we collectively work on, and we're able to demonstrate progress, success. And that's really challenging when you're trying to do it on your own. So, working as a team, working in this village allows us to enable that change. And I think that contributes to the optimism.
Thanks so much for sharing that. Richard, go ahead. Ron, you want to add something?
Oh, yeah, sure. I just want to say that for me personally, I totally agree with the statement that many have made, which is action is an antidote to despair. And I counter despair by taking action and by not having a television. I do not watch all that mainstream clickbait stuff. Yeah, that's my perspective. And I just, a personal note here, boyhood hero of mine, growing up in New Zealand, was an Antarctic explorer by the name of Ernest Shackleton. And if you haven't read Ernest Shackleton and his book Endurance, what it describes is a person who was lost in the ice, trapped there with his whole crew of, I think, 20 or so fellow explorers, and and his whole team faced imminent deaths, maybe a dozen times. And Shackleton never gave up. He led people. And when they got back, everybody survived. One guy survived a heart attack and still made it back to England. And interviews, people said, I would follow Shackleton anywhere because of his optimism and his skill and his never give up action. So no matter what the outcome is, Lila, and we don't know, do we? None of us really know. I hope to be able to say, I took action right through to the end. My end, probably before anything else. So anyway, that's my read on it. I stay optimistic.
Thank you so much for sharing. Richard, you want to share any thoughts that you may have?
Richard's maybe on mute right now.
Really on mute. It's okay.
Yeah. I'd like to ask Dave if he has any comments. Dave, I'm sorry you weren't able to join us an hour ago, but it's great to see you here now. And any perspective on the national or the local scene is totally always welcome.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Good to see some familiar faces and see some new ones. Actually, Ron, nothing. I'm just in a listening mode. I mean, I read, I keep up with things like everyone else. But opinions come dime a dozen unless it's backed up with action. And right now, my action really, my personal life has not been in the realm of energy. It's been more in the realm of civil liberties and immigration and those kind of what I see is a major turning point in the globe.
Mhm. Thank you, Dave, for that. And I might add, Dave's background as a longtime legislative aide in Washington, D.C., going through several representatives from Hawaii, I think beginning back in the years of Tulsi Gabbard and through Kai Kahele and so forth. And CCL and Dave have developed a relationship over time, which has endured and I value, as we all do. And CCL feels that relationships proceed at the pace and the speed of trust. And Dave has supported our asks with his bosses in Congress. And they've endorsed important bills that we have said, hey, we think these are great. We'd like you to share this with your boss, and so on and so forth. So Dave, thank you for all you've done for us in the past, and look forward to the future.
Thank
Okay.
you. I'm actually on the East Coast at the moment. So
Oh.
part of it is why I'm calling in late. I work East Coast and Hawaii hours.
Ah, wow. Okay.
Now we know. Okay. All right, everybody. Okay, so I have three things before we conclude our meeting for today. One, there's an updated link in the chat for you to log your attendance for today. That will help us make sure that we continue to register that we are meeting and are still doing activity as a statewide community. We are working on our social media. So if you haven't already, or if you use social media, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We will start making posts. Sometimes we get pictures from our different chapters across the different islands. So it's good to share the progress and be able just to see what people are up to. So please share. And the third thing is, because I come from the opinion that if we don't take a screenshot, the meeting didn't take place, I would like to ask for everybody to participate in my wonderful request so that I can take a screenshot of today's meeting. Okay, are we ready? All right, here we go. 1, 2, and 3. That's 1. Okay, one more. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been carrying that forever now, so the volunteers know that I'm going to be asking for a screenshot. It's very hard to build community when we hardly meet in person. So this is our way to show that we are here, that we are connecting with each other, and that we are, doing the things that we need to do to move things forward. So with that, let me conclude the meeting. Mahalo for taking time and being here with us. I look forward to seeing you in the next meeting. And thank you. So yeah.
Thank you, Karina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karina.
Bye.
Good luck, everybody. Take care.
Good night, all.